Welcome to today's launching of the Creative Cities Festival.
Yes, we'd like to acknowledge the presence of Honorable Mayor Benjie Magalong. Good morning, sir. And also the city councilors. Good morning.
We'd also like to welcome and acknowledge the presence of Baguio Media, a partner in this endeavor.
And also, I think the OIC Regional Director for
DOT CAR, Ms. Joby Gauman.
Good morning. Welcome.
Welcome. Okay. Presented by the City Government of Baguio in cooperation with the Baguio Arts and Crafts Collective, welcome to Ibagiw, the Baguio Creative City Festival 2019.
The second staging of the Baguio Creative Festival shall aim to inspire and promote innovations in crafts and folk art by way of competitions in selected fields of expertise. With this, it is hoped to be able to provide a venue for local artists and artisans to explore new ideas and designs that would further broaden the city's creative skyline and enliven its creative economy.
The planned week-long festival will also include demonstrations and fora that would encourage dialogue, collaboration, cooperation, and interactivity between artists and artisans and other creative economy stakeholders.
The various performances and exhibitions will be a showcase of the city's diverse cultural scene. And with this festival, the Baguio Arts and Crafts Collective Incorporated, or BACI, also aims to be able to explore and eventually establish the Baguio Heritage Hill and Nature Park as permanent creative hub.
And to welcome us this morning as we launch a very important event in the city of Baguio, please welcome our beloved Mayor, the Honorable Benjamin B. Magalong.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning to our artists. Good morning to our fellow public servants. Good morning to Team Baguio. Ang pag-agsapa katatagami na po. First of all, I would like to thank the organizers for giving me this opportunity to meet with you today. And as you all know, part of our agenda is to highlight and put emphasis on Baguio's rich culture and arts and to support foremost our artists. If there's anybody who understands this area of expertise, these are the artists themselves. And it's because they have that certain type of ingenious mind that brings about their creativity. And most of the time when we talk about creativity, it's not all about arts, it's not all about paintings, it's not all about areas of culture. But there are also a lot of things and aspects of creativity in all its manifestations. I'm happy to be the mayor of the only creative city in the entire country. There are so many exciting plans with key stakeholders which are about to further celebrate this honor. I would like to inform the creative community that my office and the entire city of Baguio and the local government unit is in full support of your endeavor. And rest assured that we will always there to support you and we will always behind you. Please let me know how we can be more responsive to your needs. And for that matter, I am directing Ms. Attorney Letty Clemente to please expedite the creation of the Baguio Creative Council. That is a priority. Attorney Letty, that is a priority. And I urge the members of our council to please expedite its approval. Art is an integral part of the community. Let us all strengthen art and its ties to the rest of Baguio. Let's be inclusive in our projects and program. As I keep on mentioning, when I was reading the result of the People's Summit in 2015, the people of Baguio want to be heard, the people of Baguio want to be consulted, and the people of Baguio want to participate. In the same manner, our artists in Baguio wants to be heard, they want to be consulted, and they want to participate in governance. Let's be generous in spreading our creations with the different sectors, thereby empowering them. I congratulate the organizers of this event, and I extend my warmest welcome to all those present here today. Magandang umaga po sa inyo lahat.
Thank you very much, Mayor, for those inspiring words. And I hope that the artists who are here today heard them and hold them true to their word. So, in 2017, UNESCO designated Baguio as the creative city for crafts and folk art. As Mayor said, it is the first Philippine city to join 180 creative cities from around the world. And this was the result of a collaborative effort between private sector and government who joined forces in bringing the vibrant and relevant cultural skyline of Baguio to the attention of the international community.
And now, providing us with an overview of the local government's recent efforts in further forwarding Baguio as a haven for crafts and folk arts is none other than the city's focal person for the Creative Cities Network, Ms. Leticia Clemente.
Good morning po sa lahat sa atin. Our journey began during the 50th ASEAN Creative Cities Conference held in Manila in April 2017. And these were attended by 3 representatives of the city government, Councilor Yeranon, Engineer Kayat, myself, Chancellor Rubilios, Architect Arisco, and the former DOT car director, now the COO of the Tourism Promotions Board, Chairman Venus Tan. And one person who is not from Baguio, but who believes in the talent and creativity of the people of Baguio, and who loves Baguio, in the person of Mr. Paulo Mercado, the wife is here, convinced the Baguio delegates to apply for designation with the UCCN. And he offered his voluntary services as advisor and endorser. So the core group began its work despite limited time, and we have to beat the deadline. So they convened all the representatives from the creative sector and finalized its application. So in November of that year, the UCCN announced the designation of Baguio as one of the 64 new members to the UCCN. It was a milestone for the city, yet a beginning of work to be done to accomplish its commitments spelled out in the application. So is this working? This the slides. So the UNESCO Creative Cities Network aims to strengthen the creation, production, distribution, and dissemination of cultural activities, goods, and services. And we have to develop hubs of creativity and innovation, improve access and participation in cultural life, and fully integrate culture and creativity in sustainable development plans. Is this the one? Okay. So our membership has strong alignment to the Philippine Development Goal. There's something wrong with the slides. Ah. Maybe manual na lang. So our Philippine Development Goal should attain our ambition natin 2040. Specifically, Chapter 7 of the Philippine Development Plan to promote Philippine culture and values through these targets. Increase the level of cultural awareness, and we inculcate values for the common good, the pagkamalikhain or creative excellence, advance and strengthening culture-sensitive governance and development. Also, pagkamalikhain can be achieved through the following strategies. Build appreciation of Filipino creativity, and the second is to boost the development of Filipino creativity as a tool for cohesion and impetus for a culture-based industry and creative economy. Number 9, as the mayor said a while back, of the core thrust of this administration is an enlivened culture, arts, crafts, and heritage. And our mayor is a strong advocate for a private-led initiatives on culture and arts, and the city will be fully supporting it given some limitations on funding and manpower. So if you see this graph, the classification of registered businesses in the city. Artistic endeavors are classified under arts, entertainment, and recreation. In 2018, a total of 87 only out of 20,710 registered businesses, or not even 1%, belong to the arts, entertainment, and recreation section. But Baguio is home to a lot of very talented artists and artisans. And the city also flaunts a thriving creative sector. Although we can clearly see that the city is home to some of the best artists and artisans in the country, it is evident in this graph that very few of the city's creatives belong to the formal economy, and majority of the city's creatives belong to the informal economy. So one goal of the city is to urge more artists to register their businesses to make them part of our formal economy. So where are we now? In 2017, that was when we were designated. Then we had launching of Baguio City's designation, and the first ever arts festival was done in 2018. Now, in 2019, we have formulated plans, a formulated long-term, medium-term plan for the Baguio City, and it still has to be finalized to be presented to the City Council also for adoption. For 2020, the continuous execution of our long-term plan, and in 2021, or the last year, where the city will now be submitting accomplishment report to the UCCN. And of course, the city government, though as we said, limited in so many ways, have so many initiatives also. We have established and strengthened the showcase festivals including the Baguio Flower Festival. And we develop and implement the Baguio Creative Circuit. Also, we want to establish strategic partnerships with sister UNESCO cities and establish effective communication platforms, capacity building and resource mobilization, and establish and strengthen multi-sector Baguio Creative City Steering Group, which is now the BACI. So all these things, we have specific activities to attain all our objectives to the end that we will accomplish our vision that by 2021 the city's creative sector shall flourish and be the main driving force of the Baguio's economy in the years to come. Thank you.
Okay, before we proceed, we would like to acknowledge the following. First, let's start off with the chairman on the Committee on Tourism, Councilor Elaine Sembrano, followed by Councilor Milian Yaranon, Councilor Vlad Cayabas, Councilor Filian Wegan, and Councilor Lulu Tabanda. By their presence today in this press con, I believe they have signified their full support to the Baguio Creative Cities Festival. Also, let me mention that we have Councilor Levy Orcales here in the audience.
Thank you, Ferdy. Now, the City Government of Baguio believes that the only sector in our community who can really help our creative community is the creative community itself. It recognizes that truly the best the government can do is provide an atmosphere that is conducive to creativity, to allow it to flourish, allow the artists to take the lead. And this is the reason, Ferdy?
Yeah, okay. And this is the reason that it continues to let the artists themselves spearhead the staging of this festival by designating the Baguio Arts and Crafts Collective Incorporated, or BACI, as the lead organizer of Ibagiw, the Baguio Creative Cities Festival for 2019.
To paint a picture of Baguio as a creative city and its place in the UNESCO's International Community of Creative Cities, let's all welcome the President of the Baguio Arts and Crafts Collective Incorporated, Ms. Adelaida Lim.
Good morning. Happy to be here, and happy to see our council present here, because that really shows support for this creative effort. As has been said earlier, in 2017, Baguio was recognized as a creative city and accepted in the UNESCO network of 180 creative cities worldwide. What is the UNESCO Creative Cities Network, or the UCCN? It is an international web of cities that cooperate with each other in placing creativity and cultural industries at the heart of their development plans. All the cities in the network identify creativity as a strategic factor for sustainable urban development. How does Baguio figure in this altruistic goal? Is creativity truly a central factor in Baguio's development plan? What are the ways in which this is so? Do we really deserve this designation? And how committed are we to the objectives of this network? These are questions that occur to me when I think that Baguio is now a creative city. These are questions of doubt and also of uncertainty. But on the other hand, we have to take the creative city designation as a compliment. It gives a nod to the originality and artistry and also the inventiveness of the citizens of Baguio. Much of the credit goes to our recent past when the city was the venue of an arts festival that drew the attention of artists both locally and internationally. We also happen to have a cultural scene that is unique and vibrant. Baguio is the first and only Philippine city that has acquired the Creative City designation. That fact alone brings with it a responsibility to be a model for other cities in the country and to assist them to acquire the same status. Internationally, the city is enjoined to cooperate actively with other creative cities by sharing best practices at conferences and hosting interchanges with other artists. Since receiving the UCCM designation, we have been represented at meetings in Korea and also in Poland by our city councilors. Attorney Letty Clemente, who sits as the Creative City Desk Officer, attended the annual mayor's meeting in Fabriano, Italy last June. Earlier this month, I represented the city in a conference in Chiang Mai, Thailand, and later this month, Councillor Rovillos will be attending a Creative City meeting in Adelaide, Australia. Our presence at these international meetings allows us to gives us the opportunity to share what we have learned on this sustainable development path. At these meetings, we should ideally be represented by our artists who are the first movers of creativity. We have, after all, two national artists to boast of, Mr. Kidlat Tahimik and also Ben Cabrera. And then we also have many other ingenious citizens who are capable of standing out among other creatives in the world. While at the Chiang Mai conference, I shared a paper on our city's efforts to place creativity on our development agenda. I mentioned the partnership between artists, the private sector, and the local government in launching the program. I also shared about the first Creative City Festival in Takul, which was well received. And then I invited the participating creative cities to check out our second festival, Ibagiw, which will highlight and give recognition of our crafts and folk arts, weaving, metalwork, and sculpture. To reciprocate the hospitality of other creative cities that have invited us, we should be planning to host an international conference sometime soon. We are now members of an international community of cities. As such, we have a leadership role to play that is both an honor and a responsibility. I trust that we will, with the cooperation of all the sectors in the city, rise up to the challenge with imagination to make the world a better place. We have the talent, we have the skills, and we have the culture to make it happen both locally and also internationally. Thank you.
So, tourism remains as one of the major economic drivers of Baguio. Yet for tourism to continue to play that major role in the city's economy, we have to provide visitors to our city reasons to come here.
I agree, Ferdy. I mean, di ba, people come here for the ukay-ukay. Pero ngayon, puro hukay-hukay. So, build tayo ng build. But we all know that the tourists really come here for our city's natural beauty.
That's right,
It's
Lisa.
unprecedented. And truly, sometimes it's not about what we build, but what we have left untouched that makes Baguio beautiful. And that beauty is expressed in every artwork, every story, each tapestry and weave and wood carving. They all tell a story. And to share with us how that synergy between tourism and the creative community works is the city's tourism officer, Mr. Alec Mapalo.
Thank you. I would like to take off from that introduction. How tourism, in the context of our being a creative city, will become a strong force, in creating an engagement. And now that we are pursuing and would like to launch a new tagline for Baguio, it's something that we are actually talking about in the reconvened Baguio Tourism Council. I was thinking of how mystic Baguio is in terms of many different experiences. That's why we're saying that every visitor's visit here in Baguio is always a new story. And now what is becoming more prominent as part of their stories is their engagement with our culture and arts, the artists themselves, the craftsmen themselves. And I would like to emphasize how it has become not difficult for our office and for the city, to sell Baguio in terms of creating these stories for our visitors. One thing that I would like to emphasize particularly is how these activities, as the story started with one that was presented by Attorney Letty Clemente. The story did not start there. It has become a character. It has become a characteristic of the city for so long that we are innately creative and we are innately artistic. And it just takes a community-driven force to bring this to the fore and now being recognized internationally. And that is one thing that is not difficult to sell, because if it's community-driven and it is part of our asset, call it intangible asset, then it's something that the visitors can engage in as part of their story whenever they visit Baguio. And I might as well would like to add a few personal anecdotes to that story. When the first Creative Festival was held last year, the same month, November, I became the festival director as a default. Because Benjie then was starting actually last year, or even earlier on. The truth of the matter is, prior to my coming as a tourism officer, I am a member of Benjie. I was, until now, I was a member of Benjie. I'm not yet a government employee, so I am an artist myself. And my engagement started with how we can, exactly what I've said, how we can bring to the fore this kind of a character of Baguio as part of the engagement of our visitors. And I represent the performing arts sector at that time. And then fast forward, right, immediately, like just 2 months, I came in as a tourism officer in September, and then there is now this big festival that we're organizing, and we have to do things fast in 2 months. So I was like in the forefront, in organizing and helping out. It was a little difficult for me because I was new in the city, and but I had to balance, the kind of artist involvement, and at the same time the nitty-gritty of government bureaucracy that we have to contend with when we were organizing that. But we pulled it through. But what I like in that experience is that how the community, particularly our community of artists, have engaged themselves indirectly or directly, And it's bringing about again this renewed energy of our artists. Even if I said it has been long there for so long, especially we had the Baguio Arts Festival, which we cannot forget. It's something that brought out a lot of our character as a city to visit, a city to engage with. Now, this year's staging with full relief is now being spearheaded back to the community of artists. And I would like to thank Carlo Altomonte for taking the mantle, so to speak, in organizing and now becoming our festival and creative director for Ibagiw, the second staging of the Creative Festival. So it's like community-driven from the start and now pursued as a community-driven festival, which is what it's supposed to be. And in our office as a tourism officer, we would like to expand this engagement, like from a personal level up to what we can contribute or what we can offer to our visitors. We have seen how this engagement has become up to a personal level, even seeing a popular love team, Kathniel, wearing our own local wig in the national news, and that kind of simple engagement is bringing Baguio to a national consciousness and even international consciousness, particularly its character of becoming a creative city. So rest assured, with the presence of our city councilors here, that the city will continue supporting the endeavors towards the fulfillment of the objectives of being a creative city. Good morning to one and all.
Thank you, Sir Alec. For the longest time, there seemed to be a disconnect between the creative sector and government. But this is something that we hope to move forward with this festival. And that is one of the changes that the Baguio Arts and Crafts Collective Inc. and the City Government of Baguio, together with other concerned government agencies, wish to move forward with, and to give us a brief message about the Department of Trade and Industry's commitment to the creative community, not only of Baguio, but of the rest of the Cordilleras, is DTI CAR Regional Director Mirna Pato.
To our Honorable Mayor Benjie Magalong, to the members of the City Council, of course, our private sector partner, the BATSI, led by Ma'am Adelaida Lim, to everyone, to our friends from the media. Good morning and magandang Ibagiw preparation for everyone. Thank you, Mr. Carlo, for giving DTI the opportunity to be part of this creative community, the creative city of Baguio, the only creative city in the Philippines. And ever since, DTI has been very proud to be part of it. And since its designation in 2017, DTI has already embraced its full support for the projects and activities of the creative city of Baguio. We have been very proud to be part of it, and we've been very happy to have been part in all the activities or meetings of the council related to the creative city. And I saw the presentation earlier, as I caught up when I came. It should be private sector driven. I love that because the government, we know, should only create an enabling environment for a conducive business environment. That's the role of the government, and therefore it should always be led by the private sector. We meet the private sector, we converge, we plan with them because we want to know what they need. And therefore, we always look up at DTI for the private sector as our first partner relative to all the projects that we undertake at the Department of Trade and Industry. And with that, we have been partnering initially with Benjie. We have been having series of meetings with Ma'am Adelaida Lim in partnership with our Chancellor of the University of the Philippines, Baguio, Sir Ravillos, DOT. We were just on the sideline talking, meeting silently among us to see what we can do for the creative city and as said earlier, for the Cordillera region. But I really want to focus on what the creative city program should be, and we want to express our commitment to support in whatever capacity we can. So as a very tangible project that we have been doing to support the creative city, you see every day if you move that way, upper Session Road, you see the Cordillera Crafts and Productivity Center. It's a two-story building owned by the city government, and the Department of Trade and Industry, and of course the Association of Barangay Councils of Baguio. That is our simple and humble contribution to the creative city, because what is it all about? You can see there the hard work, you can see there the patience, you can see there what is Cordillera, what is Baguio City. You see the best of best products that we have there, and we have not been promoting too much, but we hope you can help us out in promoting that place for every tourist to go, because as I said, we only display the best of best curated products of the Cordillera, and we have been working very closely with the Office of the Mayor, the Office of Attorney Clemente, and especially the private sector, as they are the ones to exhibit their products. They tell us what they want. They tell us what kind of product they want to be displayed there. And of course, we want to help them in all these initiatives of developing their products to be able to hit not only the domestic market, but of course our aim is for them to hit the export market. We have always embraced what the artists and designers of Baguio and Cordillera wants. In fact, last August, as a show of our support, we conducted a designers boot camp where we brought in all the designers and artists of Cordillera, and 90% of the participants are from Baguio City. We saw how vibrant the Cordillerans are. We know how deeply rooted our culture and heritage is, and therefore, let us capitalize on that. Let's move Baguio City, and of course, let's make our designation be a designation forever for us. Let's be very proud of Baguio, and at this point, let me express again the support of the Department of Trade and Industry in all the initiatives, particularly on the crafts portion of the designation of Baguio City as the only creative city in the Philippines. Thank you so much.
This year's festival does not only offer activities, events, exhibitions that highlight Baguio's own. Complementing Ibagiw is a major convention that will bring together culture bearers from all over Southeast Asia. Here with us and to tell us more about the International Conference on Southeast Asian Crafts and Folk Art, one of the highlights of the Baguio Creative City Festival 2019 is Dr. Raimundo Rovillos, Chancellor of the University of the Philippines, Baguio.
Ferdy, magandang umaga po sa ating lahat. So we now know that Baguio is a UNESCO Creative City. This makes us a global city. Being part of the UNESCO Creative City Network, we are part of a global community that is supposed to be sharing with each other and learning from each other. So the city itself, our city, should continue to hone our knowledge, skills, and attitudes as far as our designation is concerned, particularly in the realm of crafts and arts. And this is the reason why UP Baguio had taken the initiative of organizing an international conference on Southeast Asian crafts and folk arts. Also because this is one of the commitments we submitted to UNESCO when we applied for the declaration, that we will share what we have, what we do with the rest of the international community. At the same time, we'll not sit on our laurels. We will continue to learn, to innovate, and create. So we have there the poster of the international conference. It's led by UP Baguio with support from the Commission on Higher Education. And of course, the city government. Thank you very much, Mayor, for approving our proposal for supporting the welcome dinner during the international conference. And you have the other sponsors below the poster. The TPB, the DOT card, DTI, APADA, which is the ASEAN Handicrafts Promotion and Development Authority. This is a big network of artisans and crafts people, craftsmen and women throughout Asia, ASEAN region who will be participating here. And Nestle Philippines, who will bring an expert from Stanford University, and Cafe Dua, Chalibao, and what's the other one? May isa pa. Ebice, of course. Next slide, please. Our objectives are as follows. We want to understand the state of crafts and folk art in the Southeast Asian region, appreciate the role of crafts and folk art in the creative economy, learn the good or best practices in sustainable innovations in crafts and folk arts, and recognize the role of the academe in sustaining creativity and innovation, particularly in crafts and folk art. Next slide, please. We now have 43 paper presenters from the following countries. They have confirmed and we have approved their abstracts for presentation from the Philippines, Malaysia, Indonesia, Thailand, Laos, Hong Kong, India, Australia, Canada, United Kingdom, United States of America, and someone from Nigeria. So while the focus of the conference is Southeast Asia, we were able to receive presentations, proposals from as far as Nigeria, which is fine. So this is going to be an interesting conference. It brings together scholars, artists, and craftspeople to discuss ways by which we can move forward as a city and learn from the best practices of our neighboring countries. So we welcome everyone. Please participate. We have a very inexpensive registration fee of 2,000 for students and artists, 2,500 for professionals, for the early birds until October 29, ang deadline ng registration. So, do we have a last? Wala na, no? Okay. That would be all. Thank you very much and see you at the festival. By the way, one of the side activity of this is aside from the conference happening pala at the Albert Hall of Teachers Camp, there will also be an ASEAN exhibit of crafts and visual arts featuring contemporary expressions of Cordillera arts. So that will happen in the Romulo Hall of Teachers Camp from 18 to 24. The opening of the bazaar will be on the 18th. We expect the presence of our ASEAN ambassadors. Ambassador Nelly Albert, who is a Baguio girl, is helping us bring the ASEAN ambassadors. This is our project, Baguio citizens. Please support it, and you are all welcome to attend the conference. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you so much, Chancellor Ravilios. I'd like to take a moment to just mention that in all the speeches we've been hearing today, there's been talk of including our artists in the economy, the creative economy. But you know what is floating above my head right now is just the idea that the artist is part of the soul economy. Okay, we have to take a moment to acknowledge that what we get from crafts, from indigenous culture, and from art is more than that. Okay, more than money, more than recognition. So, as Joseph Campbell said in his interview with Bill Moyers in The Power of Myth, artists are the modern shamans. Sila po yung mga mambunong natin sa panahon na to. So, yun lang po yung gusto kong ma-acknowledge. And now we will talk about also the title of our festival, Ibagiw. Okay, bakit ba Ibagiw? So, in certain ethno-linguistic groups in the Cordilleras, the attachment of the prefix E to the name of a place denotes that someone or something is from or of that place. The word Baguio has been acknowledged as the origin of the word Baguio. Diba? It means the moss, which was commonly found at the banks of the Bued River. Diba? At sa pine trees. It grows everywhere. Okay. Behind pine trees. Ibagiw, therefore, is someone or something that is from or of Baguio. Taga Baguio, gawa sa Baguio.
So, and now to tell us what Ibagiw is all about, and give us a glimpse of what we could expect for the 9 days, starting November 16th to the 24th of 2019, is the city's consultant to the creative desk and the creative director of the Baguio Creative City Festival 2019, Mr. Carlo Marco Altamonte.
Pinahawak lang sa akin yung gong sa na-play. So good morning, everyone. My name is Carlo Altamonte, and I'd like to take you on a brief journey as to how, from time immemorial to how we got here today. First of all, councilors, all of you, thank you. Mayor, thank you for your support. And our friends in the different government agencies, DTI, CAR, who made this press conference possible at such short notice. They do magic there in DTI. DOT CAR, DOT CAR, sorry. Magkalapit kasi masyado yung pangalan. DOT CAR on such short notice was able to pull this all together. Thank you very much, Ma'am Jovi. And of course, DTI. Ma'am Mirna, finally, we're not squatters anymore. We have an office. The Baguio Arts and Crafts Collective. We're not nomads anymore, is what I meant, no? We're not nomads anymore. We are located at the OTOP Center, the one Ma'am Mirna said. That will be the festival secretariat, the OTOP Center across BR Auditorium. So, thank you so much. So, this is a photo I took from the Yellow Trail in Camp John Hay one morning, just taking a walk. It's nothing really special, supposedly, but it is very special to me. Because it just reminds me of how lucky we are to be living in a beautiful city like Baguio. And Baguio has always been, I've always had that attraction. It's just so conducive to be an artist here in Baguio. Yeah, that I am not originally from Baguio. I used to live in Manila, but I moved here. I came here for a vacation 25 years ago, and I'm still on that vacation. No, I just can't leave the place anymore. How can you? So it's no surprise that we are teeming with creative minds here in Baguio. So let's move forward. Baguio circa 1986. The EDSA revolution has just happened. We have restored our democracy. And in Baguio, we had creative minds like the late Santiago Bose and Kidlat Tahimik, migrants like me, Roberto Villanueva, and Ben Cabrera, among others, among many others. So at around that time, with these kinds of creative minds present here in Baguio, it's no surprise that they came up with something really, really significant, and that is the Baguio Arts Guild. During the time of the Baguio Arts Guild, the late 80s, the early 90s, that was what they say is like the glory days of arts and culture in Baguio. And they do have the right to claim that, because during the time of the Baguio Arts Guild, they staged not just Baguio's, but the country's biggest and most relevant arts festival, and that was the Baguio International Arts Festival. And us now in Baguio working together and trying to figure out how we can bring that back. The one factor we believe that played a very significant role in the success of the Baguio Arts Guild was that it was given a home. At the time, they were housed at the Baguio Convention Center. They had their office there. The Baguio Convention Center served as a gallery, a workshop area, a performance space. So it was very conducive to creativity. And it is no surprise also that when the Baguio Arts Guild was taken out of their home, that was also the time that it sort of went into a hiatus. But the artists thrived, continued. Like we said, no matter what happens all around us, the artists would continue to paint paintings, make sculptures, write novels, and stage plays. And those individual efforts eventually resulted into us being designated by UNESCO as a creative city in 2017, which in turn gave birth to last year's Antacol 2018, the first Baguio Creative Festival. And that's where we're coming from. So like Lisa said earlier, this is how we got from Antacol to Ibagiw. So Lisa gave us an overview of how that happened. So Ibagiw, like she said, came from the name of our city, Baguio, which came from the word Baguio, and adding the prefix I to the name of a place up here in the Cordilleras denotes that something or someone is of or from that place. Hence, Ibagiw. Taga Baguio. Gawa sa Baguio. Next, please. Okay, so now it's time to create the logo. And for this, we collaborated with a local graphics designer, and his name is Brian Batong. I would just like to acknowledge that much of the work done on the logo came from Mr. Brian Batong. Maraming salamat, Brian, for his support. So our inspiration for the logo started with the lingling-o, commonly known as a fertility symbol. And well, that's what we wanted to communicate, no? Baguio is fertile ground for creative minds. So we played around that image, stylized it a little bit, gave it a gold color, gave it that value, a gold color, twisted it to its side a little, and we realized, hey, that looks like the letter G, and that's how the logo came about. And then we put that whole thing against a background of the classic Baguio green. Do you know that when you buy Boys and Paint, there is a color that says Baguio green? That was before the de facto roof color for all the houses in Baguio. No, actually they still have it, I think. No, it's just that not many of us use it anymore. I think we should go back to that. Another thing we changed a little bit, no, very subtle change, is that the Baguio Creative Festival, instead of just the Baguio Creative Festival, we started calling it the Baguio Creative City Festival 2019, because that's exactly what we're trying to celebrate. Baguio as a creative city. And our tagline is very simple. This is what we are very proud of. Made in Baguio. So, what do we expect from the festival? What we want is to highlight, first and foremost, our craftsmen and women. But we do want the artists to be there also with performances. But most importantly, we want it to be a celebration. So add to that our logo, add to that our tagline, add to that. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Ibagiw, the Baguio Creative City Festival 2019, made in Baguio. What to expect? Sneak peek. Alright, we have this activity called Made in Baguio. What is it? the Ibagiw crafts and folk art competitions. The competitions aim to encourage innovations in the city's major crafts and folk art categories and inspire a new generation of craftsmen and women and folk artists in the following categories: backstrap, textile weaving, basketry, wood carving, and metal craft. So what's going to happen here is we're going to start auditioning and then choose 8 finalists for each of these categories, and they will be creating their pieces on site for 5 days. And the public is welcome to witness those creations taking place. And their creations will form part of a major exhibit during the festival, where the public can actually see the finished artworks or products of our finalists. So that's one. Then we also have the Creative City Marketplace. It's a fair that will showcase the city's entire creative ecosystem. You know, when we say creative city, sometimes the first things that come to mind are the artists, no? But it's much bigger than that. So the marketplace will feature a selection of the city's famed crafts and folk art pieces from the traditional, such as textiles, wood carvings, basketry, and silver craft, to modern creations by contemporary artisans and other creative professionals that offer various services from event documentation to management to multimedia production. So it's a much bigger world for this year. And then we have exhibitions such as Uring Manlilikha. What is this? It's a photography exhibit featuring portraits of some of the city's foremost artists and artisans. This will be a collaborative effort between the photographer and the subject and a writer who will write a profile about the subject of the portrait. So eventually, what we want is to come up with enough number of profiles to come up with a coffee table book, which will serve us like the who's who in the city's creative community. Then we have, I heard some people react to Barrelman 2.0. We're taking off from the barrel. It has been there for decades. But basically, what does the Barrelman offer us? The basic punchline of the Barrelman is the great reveal. So we're inviting performance artists and installation artists to take inspiration from the Barrelman, create new artworks based on that concept, and basically what we want is, what's your great reveal? What's your message to us that's relevant to us today? And then, here's another exhibit, Post No Bill. Basically, it's an exhibit, an exhibit by selected graffiti artists and muralists that will turn the historic Session Road into an outdoor art gallery. These are huge murals that will be displayed right on the island of Session Road. So for 9 days during the festival, Session Road becomes one huge outdoor gallery. And then we also have performances such as jamming on a G-string. What is it? It's a fashion show and concert featuring homegrown designers in collaboration with local musicians. Then we also have something called Natural Sound. Natural Sound basically is an acoustic, classical, and indigenous music concert, unamplified, totally unplugged, performed in a forest trail. It's like somebody coming to your living room to play the violin right next to your ear. The way a violin or a flute or a nose flute would sound without amplification. So these are just some of the performances we have. And then we're also launching the first Gawad Ibagiw. What's the Gawad Ibagiw? It's an award to be given to selected artists, artisans, culture bearers, and cultural workers who have made invaluable contributions to Baguio's creative community. Think of it as the creative, the artistic equivalent of Baguio's Outstanding Citizen Award. So the Gawad Ibagiw is for our artists and artisans, culture bearers, and cultural workers. And then a sneak peek at, okay, the opening gala. When we open, well, there will be around 100 performing artists on that day. And then at the closing gala, here's a clue. It will take us home. No, details to follow. Let it be a surprise. Alright? So these are just some of the events that await you from November 16 to November 24. And who's gonna make all of this happen? Well, I don't know, maybe these people. We're good? Go back.
Made in Baguio.
Pinarami dito yung Baguio.
Marami dito yung Baguio yan.
Made in Baguio. Gawa ito sa Baguio.
Made in Baguio. Pwede na yung product, tagatap tayo ng Baguio.
Made in Baguio.
Pinarami dito Baguio.
Made in Baguio.
Maraming Baguio.
Made in Baguio.
Maraming si Bagyo.
Gawa sa Baguio. Maraming Baguio.
Nasud sina Baguio.
Made in Bagyo. Maraming si Bagyo.
Gawa sa Baguio.
Maraming Baguio. Baguio made. Shakli Ventura. Conductor.
Siya kaya pinag-ingay, traffic woman.
My name is Luz. I'm a music visualizer.
Alam mo lang siya ang Baguio. Taganong ko dito yung Baguio.
Siya ito na nag-fever, kaya comparable art. Member siya as an artist and crafter.
Ruby Mayalitan. Weaver. Ano ba yung artist?
And so others, I'm a visual artist.
Roland Baitan. Sagot.
I'm Buko Villanueva. I'm a sculptor.
I'm Ali Garcia. I'm a calligrapher.
Mayo Calong, architect.
Jason Dumling. Photographer.
Kabansitan Lula.
Shakti Eloy. Leandro Martinez. Visual artist.
Angel Rosimo. I'm a sculptor. Ibagiw.
Baguio. Taga-Baguio. Taga-Baguio.
From Baguio City.
I was born and raised in
Baguio.
from Baguio City.
Baguio. Ibagiw. I'm from Baguio. Taga-Baguio.
Taga-Baguio.
And I'm from Baguio.
Baguio boy. Taga-Baguio. Taga-Baguio.
Taga Baguio.
I'm from Baguio.
Bagyo. Bagyo.
So, to close this presentation, to our friends, colleagues in the creative community of Baguio, to the rest of the Cordilleras and beyond, let's make this happen. To our friends on air, in print, online, well, help us spread the news. Spread it far and wide, for this festival isn't just about the creative community. It paints a picture of all of Baguio, from its people to its rich, diverse, and vibrant cultural heritage, cradled in its breathtaking landscape and thriving natural environment, all of which contribute to the beautiful life that can only be experienced in this island paradise. And I end this presentation by presenting to you the theme song for this year's Ibagiw, the Baguio Creative City Festival 2019. Here's a song entitled Sa Saliw ng Mga Gangsa, to be performed by Open Space, a local theater group.
Hinilayan ka, mabalik-balik, iangat at ikibantay.
Tila may isang batang sa pagtulog ay tinutulutan. Kansyong nagatigang sa Nagay ayon di pang nagdangay.
Unti-unting pinabalot ng ulap ang kapulutan, ilabay sa batang sa pagulong ay kinukumutan. Kapaligiran ay tahimik, ang ibang naririnig. Awitin ng mga nagsak, musika sa
Pininayan nga mabalbal konti ang nagdalitibantay. Kaslamay sa gawin na inipan ang durog ka. Maulunasan talaga ay di araw, di magkakulahan. Kansyong nagitigang sa nakayay di pa ng
sasabi ng malansa, di ko malilimutan. Larawan mong kinulayan ng kayong muntian. Ang ating panalangin, kabunyag nawa'y dinggin. Ang Baguio ay adya sa lahat ng masama. Huwag ka sanang magbabago, o mahal kong Baguio. Dalisay, mahangin, magandang tanawin. Kayong mga kabataan, inyong pangalagaan. Itong munting paraiso, wag niyong pababayaan.
Mahal ka magbalbal, matagal na bago. Nalinis na hangin, napipitas na mamuyan. Na kayo ka ang tuturo, ikayo ay walan. Dahil imasin na paraiso, di ko mabaybayan.
Sasabi ng mga lansa, di ko malilimutan. Larawan mong kinulayan ng kayong muntian. Ang aking panalangin, kabunyag nawa'y dinggin. Ang Baguio ay adya sa lahat ng masama.
Thank you very much, Open Space Productions, for that beautiful theme. Now, before we proceed with the Q&A with our media friends, we'd like to pass the mic around to first starting off to DTI CAR OIC Director Joey, DOT CAR, sorry. Then we'll just pass the mic down to the other members of the panel to give their statements.
Hello, good morning, Creative Baguio. Isn't that a wonderful song? Very soulful. It's not only promoting the city of Baguio, but also it's an advocacy song for all of us to love our paradise, which is the city of Baguio. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. I understand that I'm not in the program because I was supposed to be in Manila today, but fortunately that the Senate hearing today was cancelled, so I had to run back to the city of Baguio to be with you all today. So again, this moment, we'd like to again give our commitment to the creative sector of the city of Baguio that we will not just support all our efforts in the city of Baguio, but we will be one with you in all efforts to attain our vision to really be the creative city that we are. Even before the designation of the creatives of the city of Baguio as a UNESCO creative city, we have always been recognizing the art scene of the city and our programs. We had programs before that support the different organizations in their events for creativity and emphasizing the creative spirit of the city. And for this event last year, we are so glad that Carlo is now on board in this celebration of the Ibagiw, the Baguio Creative City Festival. Of course, it took off from the Entacool Festival. It's been really a good thing that we are all together in this, and that is actually what we want. We should all be here. That this is not a government thing. This is not just the private sector thing, but this is our festival. This is Baguio's festival. And so we encourage all of you, this is now the time for us to highlight and showcase what you have, the artisans, their crafts, their folk arts. Not just that, but all forms of creativity would be good for the city of Baguio. Last time I attended the UNESCO conference in Fabriano, Italy, and the theme there is actually about ideal city. Ideal city means when we embrace creativity, then it defines the future of the city. No? So it's not just about economic also, but as mentioned, it is actually expressing the soul of the city, and that is what we want to emphasize as a defining character of the city which we all love. And so for this festival, aside from what were already presented, we also have scheduled a North Philippines Tourism Fair, which will highlight creativity and innovation in tourism in line with the festival theme this November. And we are happy to be part of this. And after last year's festival, we have actually also gathered tour operators in the city of Baguio to come up with a creative tour or a creative crawl. And we are happy that there is one tour operator or travel agency that came up with a creative crawl. And this will be launched this November 16. It was already pre-launched in the Philippine Travel Mart in Manila, and this will be the first time that it will have a cost. You know, we're talking about economics here. Last year we had it for free, no? And this year, for all of us and for all of the visitors to experience, then they have to pay something, no? So that will actually, that is the definition of creative economy. You create something so that people can earn and people will benefit from the creativity. If the city is beautiful, people will come, they will buy the creative the crafts, they will enjoy the creativity generally, and they spend, right? So, and then plus of course that meaningful experience which cannot be quantified. Okay, so again, thank you so much, and let me again reiterate, we will be with you all throughout. It will not just be today, it will just be last year today, but as we always celebrate, we will be here and support the creative sector. Thank you so much, and mabuhay po tayong lahat.
Maraming salamat po, Director Gaongan, for those beautiful words. And now we'd like to invite some of the city councilors to share with us their brief messages of support and or comments on the activity today. We'd like to start with the chairman for
the Committee on Tourism, Councilor Elaine Zambrano.
Good morning po sa inyo lahat. Actually, much has been said. Kung magsasalita pa kami isa-isa, hindi na tayo makakapag-umpisa. Anyway, thank you very much po for your presence here. We know that with you and the government sector here, magkaisa po tayo and nothing is impossible. Go Baguio for the creative city. We have been ever number 64 for the creative city. And let us not sleep on it. Let us move on and show to them, show to the world na kaya pa natin mag-improve and contribute whatever we have. Welcome to all of you. Good morning.
Thank you po. Thank you, ma'am. Okay, may we call on Councilor Vladimir Cayabas?
A creative Wednesday and beyond to each and everyone. To the officials of the city, of course, the councilors, we have also the president, the organizers, and to our friends from the media. Kadi ito'y amin nga datoy nga naulno itireto lang alang tiyagsapa, mamaminsan tiyatay panang kablaw, magandang bagay po sa ating lahat. First, I'd like to congratulate the organizers for making this event possible. And I understand that they are coming from the private sector. This is now the so-called private and at the same time public partnership, giving chance to the private sector to showcase again their competencies and at the same time their creative ideas. We are supportive to your endeavors, our good friends. Another one, in behalf of the Committee on Education, Culture, Arts, Creativity, and at the same time historical research, that we are in one with you. We are here to support you because at the end of the day, all of us here are lovers of Baguio. But of course, that love should be again put into action so that at the end, our children and at the same time the city of Baguio will be proud of the place where we are in today. With that, again, maraming salamat. Mabuhay ang ating syudad.
Maraming salamat po. And now we'd like to call on Councilor Mylen Yaranon, who worked very closely to promote the first Baguio Entacool Festival.
Thank you. Good morning to each and everyone. I hope by now everybody understands that this creative city is a collaboration between the government and the private sector, especially our artists. For the city,